Alright, this is a 2016 Kia Forte 5 Turbo. Gonna do an amp install. Apologize for the shaking. I couldn't find my lens for my DSLR, so I'm doing this handheld. Anyways, if you see this right here, I've got a little hanger rod that goes down and back into that factory grommet housing. Right where you see how it goes down and goes up, right where it goes up in the engine compartment, there's actually like a metal cap that comes down over the top, but on the bottom side of it, it's just rubber. So that's where I'm going to run my power cable, and then I'll show you the inside. So it comes out. I don't have. Hang on, I'm gonna get a flashlight. Alright, so I'll just back up for a second. So here's your pedals. Right underneath the clutch pedal, there is the grommet. You can see, here's the hanger. I'm doing a video. So, yeah, it's just, this is where all the factory stuff comes in. So, I'm not sure which side I'm gonna do it, from engine or from here, but I'm gonna tape my power cable to this hanger, and then I'm just gonna pull it through, and then I'll show you all that. Alright, so I'm gonna try to pull it in through here. So you see my hanger's already on the other side. I've got it taped up, hopefully good enough. It's gonna be real tight when I pull it through, but yeah, I'll show you what it looks like on the other side.
You can use whatever you want to use to puncture that hole, screwdriver, whatever, but I actually used a 1/2-inch chisel because I knew, it's very sharp at the end. And so once I got it pointing down up in there, it was easy for me to just puncture right into that grommet. It made pulling the power cord connected to the hanger a lot easier, because I couldn't do it without it.
Alright, so what I did was I just punctured a hole in the grommet. See how it's going towards the down side of the grommet? Because it needs to go down like that. Because when it comes out in the engine, it'll be coming out from underneath that metal part. So I got it through. I'll show you the other side. Alright, so you can see right there the power cable taped up to the hanger, pulled it through. Now I'm just gonna grab it and pull it all the way through.
Alright, it's windy, so I don't know how this is gonna sound today. We kind of have a problem, guys. I was trying to do this install super fast, so because my wife was going to go run a marathon, and I ended up stopping recording the rest of the install, so I'm done. But because I was rushing, I didn't get a chance to hide all the wires and whatnot, so I'm gonna have to take it all apart and hide the wires. So it'll be pretty much just as good as doing the full install. I'm gonna clean up the way this power wire is in there, but you can see it's actually going. There's a pin in here. I put it on the one closest to the power itself, with no fuse on it. I thought about putting it on this one, but I didn't. So yeah. Now again, it runs here. I just got it zip tied here. I'm going to move that and kind of make it flush along this wire, but you don't need to see all that. And then where is it? It's kind of hard to see. See those white numbers on the black tube back there, the blue wire goes right across it. Anyways, that is where it goes in to the engine. Alright, so I'm gonna clean this up in here too, but it comes in right in there. I'm just gonna run it underneath the carpet, and then I gotta take this plastic piece off. And actually, I may not need to take this one off, but we'll see. But I'm gonna get the wire tucked up under there. I will take this off, and then tuck the wire in here. See, because you can see it right now, it's just under the carpet right there, and then over, blah blah blah, ugly. Taking this off was pretty easy. I'll do that and show you that, because that's where the rear speaker harness. Okay, the rear speaker harness is in this pillar. You can see the harness right here. On the inside of this is a white clip. So I took just this top pillar off. So to take this off, you gotta pull the weather sealing out on this side, and the front side also has it. So you pull that off. You don't have to mess with this very top pillar. You just pull, see where the seam is? I actually started from the bottom, and I'll show you how to do it. But you got to take this floor running piece in the back. All I really did was the edge of it, and then the front also that we were just looking at. Pull that one up. Then when you do that, there's a couple of snaps. Alright, see, so like I've just pulled that out. Normally I guess this is where the spare tire would be, under there, but I got this like makeshift fix a flat kit or whatever that comes with those 18s. But anyways, hopefully you can see this, because I'm not going to take this plastic thing out. But this is the ground for the amplifier, and this is actually the ground to the line out converter. They're both screwed in to the metal here, right underneath the left side compartment. These screws, they're actually, you can't use the bottom side of these, because on the other side they're actually plastic clips. So I just, unscrewed these 3 screws, pop this thing out, and then you'll see these 2 screws right here, right? There's plastic clips underneath there. So to make sure I wasn't going to be drilling into anything that shouldn't be drilled into, I came underneath here. Let's see if you can see, okay, so you can see in the center of this picture are the actual metal screws that they're self-tapping screws that are actually both screwed into the connector of the power cable for the amplifier. And then I just wrapped the ground for the line out converter around one of those screws before I had it fully tightened. Just tightened it down. So those 2 plastic clips at the edge of this video screen, top and bottom, those are actually those 2 spots I was talking about. So yeah, as you can see, there's nothing on this side, and I'm probably gonna put something around those screws just to make sure it's all weather sealed from this end. But yeah, absolutely no noise, there's no chirping, there's nothing coming from the sub or anything at any volume level, at mute or anything. So everything's grounded nicely, and there was actually no noise from that cheap Walmart bought line out converter, even though I have a good one on the way. But I'm probably gonna save it for my truck because this thing is working perfectly. Anyway, so that's how everything looks right now. Yeah, that's the Sound Ordnance amp. It's huge, but it actually does the rated power that it says it does and a little bit more. I used to have it in my car, but now it gets grandfathered into my wife's car. And it pushes the sub. I mean, it shakes on the inside, so that's all she cares about. Anyways, alright, I'm gonna try to hide these wires and get as much of it as I can to help you guys out. Alright, bye. Alright, so I pulled the sub out. And also, there's normally like this plastic cover in the back, but I took it out because, you know, I don't want the sub sliding around on every turn. The carpet on carpet kind of keeps it snug. I have yet to permanently mount it in there. But, so you pull that out. And then here is everything. So, these black wires right here, this is the left channel for the line out converter. This is the right channel. So both of these are coming from those rear pillars that are tapped into the rear speaker. And then I got this little cheapo. I actually picked this up at Walmart. I have one on order from Amazon, but this one actually does the job. But yeah, I've got, you know, the white and black, the white and gray wires are the speaker connection. So your plus minus right and left. The black is actually the ground. So, and I'll show you where I have that hooked up. But the yellow is the 12 volt. Okay, it needed some power. So in the Scotch manual, they actually suggested just tapping it into the 12 volt of the amp. So I have the power and that tapped into the same thing. Now this line out converter also has a remote out. So it won't turn on until it gets a signal from the speaker. I've tested this with the multimeter, and I've also tested this just messing around with turning on the car, turning on the tunes, turning off the tunes, yada yada yada, and it actually works. There's no popping when it comes on or anything like that. So we'll see if that holds true. But like I said, I was under super fast install time, so I had to stop doing the video and I just did whatever was quickest. So tapping that in there was the quickest. So I got the remote turn on, also hooked into the amp, and it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It doesn't turn on unless there's a signal. It shuts off immediately when I shut it off. So I mean, this is my wife's car, so as long as she doesn't have a dead battery, it's all good with me. I got all this extra RCA cable because I did tap into the rear speakers. On my truck, I tapped into the front because they were full range, and even though it's irrelevant to this video, the back speakers did not carry the full thump signal. So I didn't have any RCA range left, but this car, it actually is working out just fine. So since I don't have a spare tire, this styrofoam actually was a perfect spot for the amp. It actually has about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches of depth in there. So yeah, I'll pull this out and then I'll show you where I did the ground. Sorry, I screwed up the video. Anyways, there's a couple of snaps in here, Mine was relatively easy. Normally, I feel like I'm gonna break something, you know what I mean, when you're pulling it out. And I'll show you, I'll pull it out, I'll set up a tripod and actually do it in front of you. But yeah, so you pull that out, then this harness on the other side, there's a white plug that clips into it. I actually used a little screwdriver because there's 2 clips, but they're way too deep in there for me to get my hand in there. So I just did one side. I pushed the clip and kind of used the other hand to pull the bottom part of it out. Then I used the screwdriver on the top clip. Same thing. Once I did that, it pulled out, and it gave me about 1 extra inch to play with. Okay, and the reason I needed that was the speaker wires are all wrapped up in electrical tape all the way to that plug. And what you're gonna have to do is, I used some pliers and then just like a razor. I used the box cutter, and I used the pliers on the electrical tape, just kind of peeled it back a little bit, then cut a slit in that, and then I kept doing that until I peeled off about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. And what that did was it gave me about, I don't know, 3 inches of wires to play with. Because I actually spliced into, I didn't cut them, I actually spliced a small little section out of the positive rear left and the negative rear left, and then soldered my line out, positive and negative, to that, you know, and then I wrapped it up with electrical tape. I did the same thing on the right side because, you know, you got to have left and right channels to input to get the full signal. Otherwise you'll get a half of your signal for your subwoofer. It was actually pretty easy. It was easier than my truck. So I'll show you all that. So right now I just have the wires. You know, this should all be hidden in here. And then I don't know what I'm going to do about this panel. Maybe I'll take it off. We'll see how easy it is. But, you know, they run back there. There's the sub. This is the SX with the 18, so it doesn't have a spare tire. It has that little kit or whatever. So it actually has a perfect compartment to hide the amp. So I'll show you that. Let me pull the sub out, and then I'll show you where that's going. Now the pillar's out of the way. Let me move the seat belt. So that harness right in front of you is the harness I was talking about. So if you see at the very top of the video screen, there's a clip. You just push down on that with a screwdriver or whatever, and then just pull on the top right here, and it'll just kind of pull this out. Then, yeah, there's all this crap in the way. Okay, see that? Alright, I don't know if you can see it, but there's the same thing on the bottom. It's really tight to get a camera in here. Push it in, and then pull on the bottom, and then the whole thing, this whole plastic thing will pull out. But it will still be connected to this boot on the outside, and you don't want to disconnect it. Just leave it connected, but it basically pulls it out about at 1/2 inch, 1 inch to give you some room. This electrical tape was actually all the way up these wires almost to this boot. So just like, so I didn't mess with this one. These are the grounds. I just took some needle nose pliers and just kind of pulled the tape away enough to where I could cut a slit in the tape, knowing I wasn't going to affect any wires. And then I would pull that down and then cut a slit and then pull it down more, cut a slit till I cut it down to, you know, about where you see right here. All right. Now, for all the 16 Forte 5s, the rear left wires, the positive is yellow and the negative is black. Now, if you notice, there's 2 yellow wires. So you will have to pull down, you know, I'm not a pro, so I had to do this just so I knew, because I knew that the speaker wires were twisted pairs. So I pulled down that electrical tape far enough to find the black and yellow wire that were actually twisted, and if you can see, they actually start to twist together right at this point. And then if you look down in the boot more, they're completely twisted. So I knew that this yellow it wasn't the power for the speaker. Anyways, then what I did, okay, I gotta kind of tape that up better. But anyways, I just took, you know, one of the wires, spliced it a little bit. I did not cut it. I just removed some of the plastic and pushed it back, and then twisted the line out converter to it, and then soldered it, and then taped it up with electric tape. Did that on both sides of the car. You need to do a negative and a positive. Alright, so anyways, now that I've got that out of the way, you can see I'll be able to run the power wire here. So when I was pulling this bottom trim off, I was trying to feel in here how to get this little plastic. The seat actually has a clip. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Okay. That goes under the seat, so the seat just pulls up. And then, hang on. Then once you got that seat up, see that plastic? There's a screw right there. There might be a screw back there in that yellow circle. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I'm gonna unscrew that so I can pull this, because this whole plastic piece is actually part of that. A better view. So I gotta remove that screw. There's the clip, and there's another clip on the other side. And you can lift the whole seat up. I used a little piece of scrap MDF I had from the sub box I'm building for my truck. So yeah, let me take this out. Okay, so that screw is holding it down back there. That's okay. Let's see. What I think I'm gonna do is just run the power cable, you know, under this pillar, under here, then in here, and then out under the seat. Maybe not. Okay, doesn't matter. I am gonna put it under this thing, so we'll get to that in a second. Alright, so I'm done hiding the wires. See, I mean, you can barely see it right there. I didn't pull this plastic piece out, so I just tucked it in, but anyways, you can't see it from here. And then it's under there, it's under here. This wire right here, I just put it on this side of the loop of the latch. This goes to the remote. Mom, my wife likes those things. Anyways, that's for the remote. Then it's all up under the pillar. And then it's under here, under here. I did run it up underneath the seat. So under the seat, it actually comes in over here. I haven't stuffed it all the way down yet. I just wanted to leave it there so y'all could see. It's actually coming back up underneath that plastic that I showed you, then under the seat. Then I'll stuff this in there where it'll be hidden. And then just run to the back. So now all I gotta do is, you know, hide all the back stuff. Right now the amp's still visible, so I gotta put that little carpeted sheet over the top of it. But yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Alright, and this is pretty much a finished project. I'm not too worried about those little hot wires in the corner there. And then this one I left a little slack in case you need to pull it out of the trunk for whatever reason and then get into this compartment. If it was in my car, I would hide it and make it tight, knowing that when I needed to move it, I need to make some slack. My wife's not going to do that. She's just going to lift this thing out and it's going to yank all over the place. So yeah, and I can't really do a little sound test here because the neighbor's kind of early, so I'll run to a little spot and show y'all some of the flex. I mean, it's just a JL 10 or 12 power wedge. It's the WX. It's actually good, surprisingly, for their low end driver. But yeah, it makes this car bump, and it, you know, it's got good speed for the, you know, the guitars and whatnot as well. All right.